Hello, welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I'm working on Scraplift Crafternoon with my scrappy tribe. We are scrap lifting Scraps by Jules. I'll post her layout up here in the corner for you to view. It is stunning with those tags and those beautiful colors. I am also going to be working on my first Baby Got Scraps layout for January. This is an annual YouTube hop that is hosted by various people. Whoever has time to put it up in our inspiration group each year is who hosts it, and this year it is being hosted by my friend Scrappin' on the Fly. She is also part of my Scraplift Crafternoon tribe, so she'll have a layout here today as well. I'm not sure if she'll be using scraps for hers or not, but I pulled my scraps from a previous layout that I created using a Tracy Reed collection called Equinox. I have the 3 scraps here and a bunch of white cardstock scraps, and then these 3x4 scraps and 4x6 scraps that I have. I also have an alpha, a stencil, and 2 sets of dies, as well as my Distress Oxide Faded Jeans ink pad. So I'm going to go ahead and pause. We're going to get started. Make sure you check out my description box below for both playlists for each series. So there'll be a lot for you to view down there, so make sure you check that out. I'll be right back. So due to some technical difficulties, I did not show the cutting down of my scraps, and what you missed was this blue scrap that I am currently ripping was not 12 inches long, so I cut out 3 inches, 2 3-inch strips of it, and then I cut off 1 inch off one of the 3-inch strips, and I attached it to the top of the other one so that I had a full dark blue piece. And now I am just ripping the edges of the other pieces that I cut. The next 2 pieces are 1.5 inches each, and then the small strip of wood grain that is still on my white cardstock, I'm actually not going to use that. I'm going to set it aside because I decided to use the piece of wood grain that I ripped off for the left side on the right side, and that way there's no waste. I don't know if you remember this, me gushing over this piece of wood grain pattern paper on one of my recent videos, but I did because it's gorgeous. It is a printable, so I can print as many of these as I want, but I don't want to waste not a single piece of it, so I'm using it as much as I possibly can. So because I know that I'm going to be doing some stenciling here on this layout, I am not going to be adhering my pattern paper on that left hand side just yet. I'm going to go ahead and adhere it all together. I'm going to lay it on top of my white background so that I have a good idea of where it's going to end up, because I don't want to stencil anything that is going to get covered up. I don't know if you noticed, I had a kitty cat come and join me, and I kind of patted his bottom to move him out of the way. He likes to come and sit on my workspace while I'm recording, and it seems like he only likes to do that when I'm recording, little booger. So now I am going to go ahead and do this stenciling. I've tucked that stencil underneath my papers on that left side, and I'm just kind of moving them out of the way as I stencil. And I'm going to just stencil in the 4 different places, just like the original creator has on her layout. I really loved her layout. I'm really hoping at this point that I can do her layout justice. It is gorgeous. And I'm a sucker for tag layouts to begin with, which is part of the reason why I chose this layout. Yes, this is my choice for the week. I also chose it because I loved that she used a cut file and backed it with vellum. That is something that I have been meaning to do, and this just gives me that good push to go ahead and do that. So I will be backing my die cuts, they're not cut files, with vellum, but I will be doing that off camera so that you don't have to watch the tediousness of that. I also created all of my tags from scraps, and I intentionally created 2 of the tags with the ledger print so that I'd have lines for journaling. And It was fairly easy to do this. I love this Hip Kit Club die. It is very useful. I find I use it quite often. All right, now I'm ready to finish building my layout. As I told you off camera, I went ahead and I backed my die cuts with vellum. The easiest way to back a cut file or a die cut with anything is to flip it over, trace it on the back of the pattern paper, vellum, or cardstock that you're going to use to back it, and then cut it out. That is not what I did. I used the die itself to do this, and it left too large of a border around my die cut. So let this be a lesson to you. Don't do that. I ended up having to fussy cut both of those out. It took a little bit of time. It ended up not being a huge deal, but it was kind of a time sucker. So I am using this Freckled Fawn Alpha that I purchased during their Black Friday sale for this layout. It is the perfect color for these papers in this collection. It is also the perfect color for the new Bookish collection. There is a video on my channel about using the Bookish collection as well as this Scraplift Crafternoon video. So you should check that out as well. So I had intended on titling this Awana Awards Ceremony. I didn't have enough A's to do that. And I could have made A's with the V's, and I probably will do that the next time I use this alpha. But instead I just titled it Awana Medal Ceremony. Same difference, different word. It works. And it gets a title on here. My title is quite large, and I'm going to kind of maneuver things around just a little bit. I also have this large heart that I print and cut for this collection that I want to get used up. And I didn't have any tickets in this collection that made sense with what I was scrapbooking. This is a fall collection. The one ticket that I have print and cut actually has a phrase about fall on it, so it wasn't going to work for this layout. These photos were taken at the end of February of 2016, so definitely not going to work here. This other heart, I'm going to trim down a little bit. I'm going to tuck it in up at the top, and now I'm just kind of placing embellishments where I think they look the best. I put a tab in between my two journaling tags for the date. It has the word date on it, so that's perfect. And now I'm going to be using this twine. So this twine is a new addition to my stash of twine. It is from Lawn Fawn, and I purchased it as a pre-order from Scrapbook Generation earlier in 2024. It might have been in the fall, I can't remember when, and they probably still have some on their website. I bought it because it had colors that I didn't already have as far as twine goes in my stash. I also bought it because it is thinner than regular twine, but it still has kind of a meaty substance to it. And it also felt like it was kind of like almost adhesive, so it made it really easy to thread through these tags. I am using glue dots to actually glue the twine down. You'll see here in a minute that I try to glue it down with my liquid glue, and that was being tedious for me. My patience or lack thereof got the better of me, so I switched to the glue dots, and I felt like those worked quite well. So here is where I take my Barely Art glue and I try to stick it down, and I'm sure that if I left it alone it would have eventually dried, but honestly I just wanted to get this finished so that I could move on to something else today. I have quite a bit of work to do for my channel to get everything loaded up that I need to get loaded up, hops that I promised that I would join, so I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time waiting for this glue to dry. Glue dots are usually my adhesive of choice for something like this anyway, but I have a couple friends who use the liquid glue instead, and actually I think they use Nuvo Deluxe glue, and maybe I should have tried that. What you see off to the right hand side is my little drawer of adhesives. I keep extra foam adhesive, my glue dots, glue lines, etc. in there. So I finished my layout. I went off camera and I went ahead and I glued everything down. I added some fun foam adhesive various bits and pieces. Got my journaling and date on there. Pretty happy with the way that this turned out. It is not exactly like hers since I used different product, but it is very, very close enough that you can see that I actually scrap lifted her. It was an amazing layout to scrap lift, and I've been wanting to play with vellum and a cut file for quite a while, so it was fun to get out my vellum and use my die cut to trace around it and make this beautiful subdued look like she did with her paws. It's super cute thing to do, and I've saved other layouts to give me that idea on Pinterest, and so it was fun to be able to actually get it out and do that. I want to make sure that you check my description box below. I will have Jules' links, her social media links listed down there. There is a playlist for both Scraplift Crafternoon and for Baby Got Scraps. So I would love it if you would check out both of those playlists, watch them. I'm sure that there's probably going to be some crossover between the two playlists for today. And there may be some other new videos on the Baby Got Scraps playlist that you can go ahead and watch as well, since today is the 5th and Baby Got Scraps runs the whole month of January. So you might check out some of those videos. I believe also last year's and maybe even the year before's videos are on there. So if you want to hang out on that place, grab a cup of coffee and just watch to your heart's content and see all of the amazing things that can be created with just scraps. I have a few piles of scraps on my desk that I'd like to get used up this month. Mostly so I don't have to put them away because, yeah, I hate putting things away like most of the scrapbookers I know. Again, I want to thank you for coming to my channel. I really appreciate those of you who take the time to like, comment, and or subscribe. If you're new here, I'd love to have you subscribe. Just click that button below. If you have any comments or questions about anything that I've done on this layout, just drop those below as well. I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Thank you again for being here, and have a great rest of your Sunday. Bye. To come